I think that there were other things in my family that taught me very early on that secrets kept me safe.
A surprisingly emotional Kevin Spacey explained why he's always been so private. He's known worldwide, but he feels more comfortable behind the mask of a character. One of his closest held secrets was well known on sets. He refused to discuss it until he was forced to. He was accused of sexual abuse by Anthony Rapp. That opened the dam to a flood of similar allegations. He was always declared innocent in court, but a new documentary reveals the truth and threatens to halt his once illustrious career. Keep watching to learn why Kevin Spacey will never work again after what he did. His rise to power. Kevin Spacey Fowler was born July 26, 1959. He graduated as co-valedictorian of Chatsworth High School in '77. That's where he starred in a senior production of The Sound of Music. He tried to be a comedian for years before attending Juilliard. He won a Tony in 1991 for playing Uncle Louie in the 1991 production of Lost in Yonkers. He won the Olivier Award for Best Actor in '99 and another Tony that same year for The Iceman Cometh. He starred in several plays at the Old Vic while managing it. Kevin's first film appearance was in 1986's Heartburn. It earned him a spot in 1992's Glengarry Glen Ross. 95's The Usual Suspects was one of his biggest film roles. It won him an Academy Award and a Golden Globe nomination. He followed that up with hits like Seven and American Beauty. He even got to voice act playing Hopper in A Bug's Life. He was the villain in the 2014 video game Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. His first major TV appearance came in 1987 with the show Crime Story. He continued to have TV hits like The Equalizers. It was House of Cards that changed not only his life, but the world of entertainment as we know it. It premiered on Netflix March 18, 2011. Kevin played corrupt politician Frank Underwood. He was nominated for an Emmy and won a Golden Globe. The initial allegations. Anthony Rapp was one of the first people to publicly accuse Kevin in 2017. He mentioned multiple events in 1986 when he was 14 and Kevin was 24. The judge found him not guilty on October 20th. Kevin was charged with sexual assault in the UK as well and found not guilty. Kevin also went to court against production companies M Profit Productions and Trigger Street Productions. They ordered him to pay $31 million for violating their sexual harassment policies. He appealed but was denied in 2022. His response. Kevin came out as gay after the Anthony Rapp allegation. It was a controversial claim made in poor timing. It wasn't acceptable for many fans and gay celebrities such as George Takei, Lance Bass, and Wanda Sykes. They felt he was only coming out of the closet to deflect from the allegations made against him. Kevin chose strange ways to respond to the controversy publicly. He was in character as Frank in a video called Let Me Be Frank in 2018, saying things like,
"But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that."
He followed that up with similar videos in 2019, 2020, and 2023. Further details from Kevin Spacey Unmasked. Things then got worse for Kevin. 7 years after the initial accusation, the streaming platform Max released a tell-all documentary. It was named after his favorite class in Juilliard, Mask Class. It gives insight into how much he hid from himself and the world and lets the victims reveal their stories. Kevin responded saying, "I have consistently denied and now successfully defended numerous allegations made both in the US and the UK, both criminal and civil, and each time have been able to source evidence undermining the allegations and have been believed by a jury of my peers." Chilling details of his early life. Kevin's older brother Randy spoke up about their home life. He admits that while they were close when they were young, their father made the home hellish. Randy said he blamed the world for all of his problems and was full of so much hatred. He was also a Holocaust denier who held Nazi meetings in the house and hung a Nazi flag on the wall. He abused Randy in more ways than one. He'd beat him with a riding crop and began sexually abusing him in 1969. It went on until 1971, and he left the home a few years later. Kevin wasn't abused in the same way, but did face psychological trauma. Kevin and Scott. Scott didn't know it, but he was just Kevin's type. The muscular ex-Marine met him when he was at a club called the Viper Room. He was starstruck at first. Then they went to a party in the Hollywood Hills where Kevin held him in a bear grip hug. He began grinding up against him and nuzzling his neck. Kevin offered to take Scott's headshot and resume the next day. He accepted, and while they were out in the city, they went to see Saving Private Ryan, which Scott was in. The infamous first scene began. One of the most brutal depictions of war played on the screen, and Kevin began pleasuring himself. Scott was ashamed. He stopped returning Kevin's calls until they included an invite to a party with Bruce Willis. He accepted and met him in his hotel room. Kevin began rubbing his shoulders and alluded to a glass ceiling in Hollywood. Male actors also had to cross it with sexual favors to get a career. They met at a bar again later. He saw Kevin, an expert impressionist, doing voices to make fun of two gay men at the far end. He could tell it was an attempt to hide his own sexuality. Kevin and Jesse. Jesse was an intern on The Big Kahuna in 1999. Kevin knew he was straight but pursued him as a conquest. They were in the bathroom at the film's Rapp party. Kevin suddenly showed his penis and shoved his tongue in Jesse's mouth. Jesse was shocked but wanted to get something out of the incident. They met again and he showed him a script he was working on. It was more of the same. Kevin exposed himself and asked Jesse for oral sex. Jesse stopped returning Kevin's calls, but eventually yelled that he was straight. Kevin and Andy. Andy was openly gay when he met Kevin in 1981. They were in the same office at a public theater. Kevin refused to acknowledge him until all of a sudden he approached Andy with a quote-unquote full-scale erection. He tried to put him on the desk with so much force that he fell over. Kevin got on top of him until Andy forced him off. Andy never told anyone about the incident, not his boyfriend nor the police. It was awkward for him to watch Kevin get even more famous. He described the star's attitude during the incident as matching everyone else in the documentary. He called him, quote, cold in a way that was almost inhuman. Kevin and Aaron. Aaron only wanted a bit of mentoring from the famous actor when they met at the Golden Globes in 2000. They meshed well after smoking joints. Kevin invited Aaron to his party. The room was empty except for one famous actor in a bathrobe. Aaron caught on to what he intended right away. He tried to say he was straight, but that only made his pursuer more interested, saying, quote, there's nothing like flipping a U.S. Marine who looks like you. Aaron knew he could defend himself. He was more afraid of what it could do for his career. He compromised by kissing him and then pushed him away. House of Cards. House of Cards was the show that made Kevin famous, but it was also where much of his abuse took place. A production assistant named Evelyn said she always had to keep tabs on him and that she and another female staffer were hired for that purpose. She saw him approach and touch various performers. She admits he made the work environment hostile for everyone, but that the issue was well known across the cast and crew. One of Kevin's main targets was a background actor named Daniel. He had a small speaking role. One day, Kevin groped his penis as they walked off set. He looked at him and felt like he was looking into, quote, the eyes of a soulless monster. The fallout. The allegations cost Kevin everything. House of Cards ended in 2018 without him. He lost his chance to produce several projects he'd been working on. They included a biographical film about Al Gore and the removal of his scenes from All the Money in the World. He lost his team. His publicist, Stacey Wolf, and the creative artists agency cut ties with him. He even lost out on honors he would have received. The International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences was set to give him the International Emmy Founders Award in 2017. They reversed their decision when the controversy came out. Kevin has said,
I just want to get back to work. You know, I'm so grateful for the career that I had, and I so feel like I've still got so much to offer that I am enormously pleased that my friends have stood up for me this past day. But quite frankly, they've been standing up for me for a long, long time.
Those friends include actors like Sharon Stone, Liam Neeson, and Stephen Fry. Despite their support, it's likely Kevin Spacey will never work again after what he did. Now it's time to hear from you. Who's your favorite evil character on TV? Let us know in the comments section below.